take out the checkbook to pay bills, and he'd notice one was missing. "Ellen, Ellen," he'd shout. She'd pretend not to hear him. "Ellen, there's a check missing." "Yeah," she'd say. She was half asking as though she was surprised and half telling him, "So what?" "What did you do with it?" He knew, she knew, even I knew that she would take the check, spend it, and forget what she spent it on. She did it to me, too. I used to keep my money in an old Tropicana orange juice jar under my bed, and she'd borrow it often and forget to replace it. Plenty of times she just preemptively gave me money in the morning because she had no idea if she'd taken any from me or not. "Ellen," my dad would continue getting angry, "how can I balance a checkbook if I don't know what you wrote a check for?" Then she'd start to cry. When my dad was out of work, though, there was actually less screaming, less crying. That's how much tension there was. It permeated every day. Nothing was being released. It was so bad that when I asked for $20 to go on a school ski trip, my dad told me, "I'm really sorry, but we don't have the money." For him to say that out loud was a big deal. I knew it broke his heart. But a couple of nights later, my dad handed me a $20 bill and said I could go. I was ecstatic and didn't think about the money until a week later when I was looking for some change in my parents' water cooler full of coins. It was missing all the silver. Pennies were all that remained. All those years that my dad hustled flea markets, he kept getting calls from other ice cream companies. He hated the industry. He felt burned by it, and he had so much pride he didn't want anything to do with it. But he was a great ice cream salesman, and nothing else was working. So he finally answered one of those calls and said yes. After that, we didn't really worry about money again. Here's why I love my wrestling coach. After kicking me off the team in 8th grade, he welcomed me back in 9th. He acted like nothing had ever happened. In fact, he made me a team captain, and I went undefeated, and I played on the football team, and I was voted most popular. Seriously. 3 years early, I'd been in grammar school, and the kids made fun of me for having yellow teeth. Now I was one of the school's more accomplished athletes and most popular kids. I know it's hard to believe this when Tracy, the office manager, is going after me, or Howard is ripping me for playing solitaire on the wrap-up show, but it was true. In fact, it taught me a great lesson about being a minor celebrity. I didn't campaign to be most popular. It was a random vote. I was chatty and played sports, so people knew me. Afterward, my closest friends were like, "How cool, congratulations." Other people who had never spoken to me suddenly wanted to be friends with me, too. And then there were the kids who were nasty. They said, "Ooh, there goes Mr. Popular," whenever I walked by and mocked me for everything. The reaction was completely surprising to me. Being picked on, at home, at school, in the park, I understood. Being picked on because too many people liked me? That was new to me. When I started on the Stern Show, it was the same thing. The first time it happened was when we were at NBC, and I went to a party at an apartment in the city. Now, I knew guys who truly showed off what they did. There was a producer for Don Imus who wore a black and silver NBC jacket with the peacock on the back that he bought at the gift shop. He had it embroidered with "Producer, Imus in the Morning" in big letters. That has never been my style. At this party, I was talking to a girl who was really excited that I worked for the show. She grabbed her friend who was really cute and said, "Do you know who this is?" The friend wheeled around and gave me the once-over and sneered, "You think you're a big shot." It was like she was looking for a fight. I don't think I'm anybody. I'm not looking to be the big wheel. Occasionally I walk into a bar in New York City and somebody would automatically say, "Oh, look who's here, Mr. Big Shot." That anyone could think I'd get a big head after a day of getting destroyed on the show is remarkable. Here's the thing about that year in junior high. I still never felt like I belonged. Maybe it's because I was afraid we were going to lose our house, but I was always sure someone was going to come to me and say, "Okay, we caught you. You're a fake and a phony. Get out." I hung out with the jocks, but I didn't really think I deserved to. I felt like a poser and assumed that eventually someone else would see that too.
Chapter 8. These are my guys.
I've got so many great pictures in my office. There's a framed 10x12 shot Howard gave me as a birthday present, showing all of us from the show dressed up in drag at a photo shoot for his second book, Miss America. There's my younger son Lucas doing the tricky Dick Nixon pose on his campaign poster when he ran for 5th grade class president. I've got a framed, limited edition etching of Jay Leno sent to me by Helen Kushnick, his old agent, who was played by Kathy Bates in the movie Late Shift. She mailed it to me one September as an early Christmas present because she knew she was about to get fired. Hanging above it is a letter from her dated 2 days before she got canned. Across from that is a framed cover of the free local Connecticut magazine County Living of me, Marianne Jackson, when he was just a toddler. It was taken just before Private Parts came out, and we were doing any kind of promotion that came along. On my filing cabinet is a picture from a Saturday Night Live newscast with Tina Fey. She's pointing to a picture of me as the punchline for a joke about the new president of Iraq. The guys who ran were Muhammad Dell'Abate, Muhammad Bibi, and Baba Booey. One day she was on her show and signed it. Gary, congrats on becoming the president of Iraq, Tina Fey. In a red frame on my wraparound desk is a picture of Frances Bean when she was around 4. Courtney Love gave it to me. I call it the $400 picture. One morning we called Courtney for an interview when she happened to be in New York. Howard asked her to come in, and she said, "No, I'm in pajamas, I'm a mess." He told her we'd send a car for her, and next thing you know, she was in the studio in her nightgown doing a segment. When it was over, I was trying to get her back in the car, which wasn't easy, and she finally stopped me and said, "Gary, I am sending you a picture of Frances Bean. I want you to put it on Howard's console in the studio so he knows whenever he talks badly about me or Kurt, he is hurting her." I said okay, and I sent her home. A couple of hours later, someone dropped off a package at my desk. It was a picture of Frances Bean. Later that week, we got a bill for $400 from the car service. Turns out Courtney had asked the driver to wait when he dropped her off. Then she went up to her apartment, found a picture, and sent him back with it. Now I look at it every day. Frances Bean's photo is right in front of a picture of me and Mary walking the red carpet for private parts. Next to that is a picture of the marquee outside Burger King in southern New Jersey. To get there, you had to exit the New Jersey Turnpike at exit 7, drive 30 minutes, and then scan the horizon. It was easy to spot. There was nothing around for days. The marquee read, "Appearing 2 to 4, Gary Dell'Abate. 4 to 6, Pom Pom the Clown." But my favorite is a candid shot of Fred, Artie, Howard, Robin, and me on the set while doing the show in Las Vegas. It's rare that we have photographers shooting the show, and even rarer for us to be in a picture that isn't posed. It's just us working, doing what we love, what we're pretty good at, with people we like hanging out with. I hung it right above my computer in the line of sight whenever I'm staring at my screen. These are my guys, my family. They're the reasons I've spent more than 25 years doing the show. We were all just a bunch of radio nerds who found a gig that felt like we were hanging out with our friends every day. I knew how special it was early on after Howard left NBC for K-Rock, and I was just a year into working for him. When K-Rock hired him, Howard wasn't able to take me along. There wasn't a spot in the budget for more than one producer, and that job title was technically Fred's. I was still working at NBC. All the people that worked for Howard were. And we were trying to figure out what to do with our lives as the execs who fired Howard put us on random shows. It kind of sucked. The day that Howard had his press conference for K-Rock, I went to it just to say hello and to wish him luck. But when it was over, he pulled me aside. He said, "I'm really sorry we can't bring you along. The folks at K-Rock don't really get how the show works, but I'm working on them, and I feel good that I can get you back with us in 6 months. I know it's a long time. You might have to find a new gig before that.